competition, but they both lose it because every somebody is on somebody else and they're not necessarily.
Nobody's watching right now, so.
But are you on the line again?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll just try contacting her.
And also he's a poker guy too as well, so I'm just
Yeah, I'll try calling her first, and then I'll see if we can Skype her.
The two are watching right now.
Oh, okay, so she's probably there. Say hi if she's there. Tell her I'm gonna try calling her on Skype unless she has ask her if she has a camera. If you guys have like a camera, or Mary, if you have a camera, or wondering what best is. Because I could, if you have Skype or something, then I could Skype you, and you could, if you want to send your storyboards, or at least we could see you, you can show them to us. If you have a camera on your computer. Or maybe FaceTime, or... She says no?
No response.
Oh, no response, okay. Okay, I'm gonna just try calling.
I also text her that, is it you if you're...
Oh.
So we don't know who's one person who's watching.
Okay, I'm just gonna try calling her. Got her number here. Tried calling last time. 705.
Yeah, it's like we should have one that scenes of the remain or something, you know, like it's a nice photo.
Okay,
That's why they ended up with the two sites, because sometimes they deleted some suggested that they put it two sites. Some people will put a twin. She was thinking at the end of the day, it's just a childhood.
Yeah, I was pretending to play like
Are you interested?
Sure.
I'm still trying to figure out why.
There's 3 shots of it.
I don't know.
Figure out how to do that underpass.
Yeah. The train station right there. There was another train station. Apparently it wasn't torn down until I was in
Said
high
if it was
school.
strong backlight.
I do not remember it all. I remember the data. I remember the other train station. I don't really remember. I think it's new development. But it's like I knew why she would put some
okay, anyway, can't get through to her. But anyway, if Mary later wants to, or Santinia wants to Google chat, we can do that. I'll go on the Google chat here in case we can. I'll go into our same thing that we had last time.
Okay.
Okay, and then we can just start.
Thing is like totally locked off. And they're like coffee cups. So this one's kind of
I think you guys should record pretty good. Record good sound. I think that would help. The Zoom is a good idea.
Oh yeah, there.
You can also you can get a boom. And we
Oh yeah.
slate two as well. Because if we're gonna
It's just both of them. So.
Oh, that's another
Okay.
How about recording shot, logging shot? Logging sound while we
Well, this is
We can record, with the, we just plug like a blue mic right into the camera, so it'll all be in one place, but it'll just have nice sound. And then as a backup, we could also record the Zoom.
Okay. Let's just briefly share with each other what we're doing with our group so far. So the idea of the the one-line description of what your project is, and then any kind of planning that you've come up with, and then we'll break off again and continue on with our planning, and then we'll go for lunch. Okay, so who wants to start? Oh. Oops.
Well, I can read ours here, what we've got, that basically this is a film about geographical perception and labels. Why are we referred to as Northwestern Ontario?
And maybe some of the ideas.
Oh, okay.
The ideas.
And then, going on from there, how did I end up north when I was heading due west? And so we're, really it's all about Trans-Canada #1 that travels on the southern edge of Canada. We're on it, but somehow we ended up in northwestern Ontario as opposed to being recognized as western part of the country. And then the other ideas thinking about was with the maps and how we're going to incorporate those images from historical maps to current maps. And one of the ideas was folding up the map in 4, and no matter, whenever we open it to find Thunder Bay, this area in the northwest corner, it's not there, so just keep throwing away maps, unfolding them to find northwestern Ontario. But all we're finding is the western corner, the southwestern corner with the city, and so we just keep throwing maps away because we're trying to find our way there, right? And then some of the location shots, Highway 61 with the sign that says 35 kilometers to the U.S. border, downtown Port Arthur with mile 0 of the St. Lawrence Seaway, which is along the southern border of Canada, but that's in the north when you get here. So just ideas like that to kind of make the brain rethink as to how the language has been accepted and adopted in Ontario, whether you're in Eastern Ontario or Western Ontario, that now it's Southern Ontario and Northern Ontario. But if we identify that way, then Ontario's sideways on the map, because the western border is Michigan, as opposed to Manitoba.
I can just see the whole Ontario going, yeah.
And that's a good visual, right? That maybe with that kind of a sound, creaking sound too, to get it back where it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and we want to use animation too.
Yeah, and Google Maps and satellite zooming in, and
yeah,
so that the brain can start relating how it physically looks as opposed to how we speak or how the media speaks and refers to, and then the mindset of people way up north, as opposed to that's this western strength of who we are. So hopefully at the end of it all that people will be scratching their heads and giving new thought again to the power and the strength of this part of the province.
cool.
We the West, hashtag We the West.
And I'm working with Arlene on this.
I am so honored, like my heart's beating. Like.
No, I'm totally excited because I was telling her that when I moved here, like I started my film career in Winnipeg, and I grew up in Winnipeg, but always came here because my parents and my family are from Thunder Bay. We always came to camp at Chebanduan. My company is called Chebanduan Films now, Sheba Films. And when I tried to, you know, convince the National Film Board of Canada to let me make my films, they said, oh, well, you move to Ontario, you have to go to Ontario office. And, but of course they didn't want any of my ideas or my films. So finally, when I had a little bit of success, I made one last ditch effort to go home to Winnipeg. And as a result, this whole area to Thunder Bay became part of the Western region. And my producers are always from Winnipeg or from Edmonton. And it just made sense that geographically for film, and the same thing happened with CBC. CBC, if we to apply for money or funding for films, it was Winnipeg. We were part of the Prairie region. So if you look at my films and you look at the end credits and who the producers are, it was produced by the Prairie office of the National Film Board of Canada, not Toronto. So anyway, yes, we rule. Western Ontario. Okay, so who's next? Are you guys ready?
Yeah. Well, this is a film about recovery from physical and mental challenges, and it's based on the poem "Let Winds Blow Through You," and we're thinking to start at I have a lawn chair with blankets and a pillow and for a prop, and Katie's agreed to be an actress, sick actress at the beginning, and we're thinking to shoot at, there's a concrete, near the shipyards, there's a concrete place that would be depressing and a good place to start, as, you know, and this bed, you know, this lawn chair is quite portable. You know, flattens out, and we can move it from site to site or location to location. And so she starts off there, and there's a busker, and there's music, and there's a narrator.
Who's the busker gonna be?
Adrian. Adrian's a busker, and Clarence has music. He's going to compose, and Clarence is going to read the poem, and then during the post-editing process, only the text of every second line will fade in and out of the scene, and then we'll shoot it up at Centennial Park, most of it, and there'll be a transition from the sick person to, you know, recovering slowly, and then in the end, you know, being free of the mental and physical challenges. And this, I was thinking of being shot up on the hill at Centennial Park. With anyway, this is more or less the.
So would you, if you were going to do a one line, would you say this is a short experimental or a short fiction film based on poetic or a poetic, you know, it's not a documentary you're making, you're doing,
Okay.
It's sort of more experimental, short fiction film
Based on the poem.
on the poem that, and on the theme of
Mental and physical challenges.
mental and physical challenges. Okay, excellent, great. Sounds like you guys are halfway there. Seriously, you have tons of great ideas. Okay, so who's speaking for your group?
It's just that, okay, so you just want to,
Well, first give us like your one-line description of what you're doing.
it's kind of a how we got to here with the history of the James Street Bridge. So how did it get from the postcard state-of-the-art new thing to now where they're not even wanting to fix it or to acknowledge that it's a piece of history or that it's important between First Nations and the rest of Thunder Bay.
So short documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So a short documentary about the James Street Bridge and community.
Kind of the history
And
and like it was an important part. Back then it was a postcard and everything, and then now it's still, it is important, but they're not like, I mean, it's in the news, but nobody really wants to do anything about it, or it seems like nobody wants to do anything about it. So just kind of tie all those pieces of the puzzle together, and maybe, you know, it'll start some more people thinking that, hey, well, we just want it as a historic, you know, thing still there, and to be able to use it.
And then also, I mean, what are the ramifications of this bridge right now not being accessible? Is like what you were saying. Is that
Yeah, like April was saying
the-
that her son, who lives on the reserve, took a quad to the bridge, walks over the bridge, and took a bike to get to work to Metro. But then the bike was stolen, so, you know, and even the I remember when they first went, there were a lot of people that were saying that they would just walk over to work, and now they can't because the bridge was, you know, you're not supposed to, you can't get over, or they were driving over and whatever for the date, and now they have to go all the way around. It takes a lot longer, more gasoline.
so, well, I think you're getting there. You're gonna,
Yes, it's like
you've got a
very
home.
much brainstorming.
Yeah, brainstorming
Lots of good ideas, and then a matter of sort of laying out how to go about it, and
Yeah.
and prioritizing a little bit, and then figuring out who to talk to, and what footage we want, and what archive footage.
Yes, we have ourselves on that Thunder Bay Memories, and one person, Jack Murphy, has sent a picture, and just, that was about it, just a picture of it.
There's a pretty terrific historical book that was done about Thunder Bay that they talk about the mission and the agreement with the railway and how all of that came to be. I think it was published in about 1995. I have
Okay.
a copy of it. I can't find it. I'm looking for it.
Okay, so
Right.
yeah, you can look that up, try to find that
So
book, so your
1995?
I
research,
think so, yeah.
the university.
Call Tori
and
at
the museum, yeah,
You probably
call-
got it.
Wait, it's a book?
Yes. A locally written and published book about the history. It's the color of it's a black and white imagery on the cover with burgundy highlights of the.
You know what, I think I
Border
just
and
bought it from
background.
Value Village,
Ah.
like a couple of weeks ago, pretty sure. I've
Yeah,
gotta look,
so
I've gotta
that-
go
so that-
look at home now.
That sounds like really excellent for your research,
Yeah.
and then, you know, my advice would be is just keep working on like your one-line description, so that what is the most important story that you want to tell? Like explore everything that you could have, and then if it becomes like how one family is affected, or the bridge, past, present, future, but if it's too big, then you're gonna have a really struggle of what you're gonna do. So just gather up all the interesting things about that story as you're doing, and then really try to hone in on what would be the best. Then you'll be able to add all that complexity.
Right, and we were gonna leave it
Brilliant.
open-ended, like, they were suggesting yesterday, where to not really give it an answer as to why it's the way it is, but just get everybody to more, just form their own opinion, or to come up with their own conclusion. So not give them the answer, but just
So
bring
it's
all
a
these pieces.
discussion starter. So like if that's so that's really good too. Like if that, thinking about your audience and then what you want to achieve with that short film, you know, like the Western Ontario ideas.
My
just
links are
change
getting
people's
tweeted out
thinking.
to all the news people.
But if yours is to, you know, maybe in the end, the film is really gonna be about colonial legacies, or racism, or, you know what I mean? That you've gotta dig deep down in what that bridge means in a deeper way, and then then that will lead you to how you're going to, what you'll focus on and how you're, you know, and I can't help but thinking that somehow April's status card might weave its way in there somehow. Who knows?
That's what we
But that's a
wanted to
great
do
story
with
about her
someone.
son, you know,
Yeah.
getting the bike stolen and everything, but, because even.
But that's like one person, but if
Yeah.
we can find other ones that have
Brilliant.
issues, and the other way too, like, it does, for anybody who gets gas from that side.
Right.
You can't cut through, now you have to go all the way around.
Right.
How about
And
coming
then
from
that
leaving and
dangerous-
almost getting hammered
Yeah,
every time?
Yeah, that's so dangerous on that corner
It is.
too when you're doing that.
And it never was dangerous before until the bridge closed.
And my sister, she, and my grandma, they got into an accident because of the, they were one of the many people that got into accidents. And it's, like, they're fine right now, even though my sister did get a concussion a couple of days later. It's horrible, like, how everything's going.
It's a big story.
Well, it's funny how there's those lights at the Broadway corner where there's hardly any traffic. Why couldn't they just take those ones out and put them on?
The lights don't belong there, because then that justifies what they're doing at the bridge and the railway wins. No.
True, that is true, but just for safety's sake, have temporary lights there, something, because.
No, even their
So,
little Amber doesn't
Mary-
even do anything.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. There you
She's
go.
there.
Oh, okay.
Like around Jabal Road, it should, the speed limit should
Just
low,
like
should be
50
very low, like at
top.
least 60,
Oh.
70.
Okay.
What?
Okay, so she doesn't want to,
It should be at least 70.
I don't know.
Because
Oh,
instead of
okay.
90, it should be 70
Yeah.
or 60.
Can I just say something interesting?
Oh, okay.
Something.
Like different viewpoints within a film, within a project, and what different people can bring to it. And I think as an outsider, when I look at this situation, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. And it might be good to have that view somehow in these films, like put it within a much bigger perspective, in order to allow people to step back, really look and say, oh, no, you just can't let this be going on. Right? And it's hard to have that view if you're right inside something. But it might be good to somehow get this very much outsider view on it at some point in the film. Maybe it's
That uses the bridge, it's everybody, and that it's.
and gets
And
injured.
it's historic, it's this historic landmark that should be, you know, how many people went over that bridge when they went to Chippewa Park as a kid and whatever else, like, it's a story for everybody, not just one-sided that, oh, they want the bridge. No.
Exactly.
We
And
should
that's
all
a
want
perception in itself, isn't it? They, them, over there, only for them, regardless of it, it's Fort William First Nation membership and the people who work on reserve, or we as the Europeans who settled here. It's as important for the First Nation people as me to have access to that bridge and cross it. Even if I'm not gonna cross it, it's important that they can cross it. It's not us and them, it's the people.
Well,
So,
historically.
and that's the problem, because it's an us
So
and
if
them.
it's that, it's such a complex, complicated, conflicted issue. I'm just wondering if a formal structure might be to a series of questions. So that again, you're doing what you're saying is opening it up, but you go from one question to another question to another question, and the view of the questions gets larger. It starts with the specifics of the bridge and the history, and by the end you're saying, what in the world is going on here, right?
Yeah.
So that you lead the viewer through a series of questions so that, again, it can open up people's minds and help to see it. Do you think that might, I'm just thinking as a formal strategy, it might.
Yeah, and along with that, I just had the thought that it might be in preliminary research stages to do kind of an expanded review of who are the stakeholders and maybe there's some stakeholders that you don't know about yet, and maybe some of them have power, and maybe some of them are organizational and the whole historical aspects, and you know, so that
And
could.
we were counting the city, Fort William Missions,
Yeah.
the railway.
Yeah, there's at
Local
least 5
people,
major
yeah, all
ones,
these
yeah.
organizational ones, and that could be part of your proposal if you were going to, you know, develop it into that kind of stage.
So historically, that, before they built the new bridge, that was the only way. If you were gonna go to Duluth, you had to go that way. If you were gonna go to Nebing, that was the way to go. And they used to have a big archway there saying, welcome to Fort William.
And I bet there's some footage somewhere.
There's
There's pictures.
still images and things like
Yeah,
that.
and the
But
tourism board.
Right, because Highway 61 went south and the
That was-
61B and.
that was 61 until they built the new bridge.
Right.
Like, that was the only way to go. But another idea that occurred to me is that CN is one of the major players in all of this. It's CN that's being obstinate and saying we're not gonna fix that bridge. What does that say about CN's attitude towards Thunder Bay?
Yeah.
If you go to virtually any other city in the country, there's underpasses under all the railway crossings, not Thunder Bay. You could get stuck by a train for 20 minutes at any time in Thunder Bay.
Downtown.
Downtown.
Right in the middle, and it's like CN goes, or they can stop the train. You know, you're going down Fort William Road, you wanna go to Port Arthur, sorry, the train, it just stopped. It's parked. And
And then it starts to go backwards.
Yeah.
And a little bit forward.
Just-
again.
just to
And
drive
then, like,
you
just
crazy.
backwards again, and you're like, really?
And I have a cousin who's an engineer, and he might be someone you might want to talk to, just even for information. He can tell you the whole.
I was
Scoop.
gonna ask on
Yeah.
here if I can find somebody who actually operated it when it was still swinging.
Yeah, I had a vision of that fella sitting up in that little house, right? I always remember as a young teenager, and if we'd go up that way, that there was always that individual working up in that little room. We waved
Cool.
with him and,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Not just like with the train engine.
Yeah, or, you know, like a truck driver honk honk, you know, the same thing as waving to the guy up in that little building there on the bridge.
And then I thought we could have the voice actually, like, telling its own story, the bridge, telling the story, but maybe make it a woman, just to, you know, the guy's the operator, but the woman's the bridge.
Okay, well, does Mary have anything that she wants to share?
Do you want to ask her on
Oh,
the
yeah.
chat, or should I?
Yeah, well, chat her.
Okay.
Hey, Mary, did you have anything that you wanted to share, or I tried calling you, but it didn't answer, and you don't have a. Or if you want to, or join us back at 4:30. Back here at 4:30. No response yet?
No, she would listen because it's delayed.
I
so-
know, I know.
Right.
Okay, well, I think we should break for lunch, and then I'll try to get hold of Mary by email, or, and Satinia, she's still ill today. She was hoping to make it in to join one of the teams, but maybe we'll be able to rope her into our film, Satinia, if you're out there watching. So let's all head up for lunch, and maybe you want to just hang out with your groups and do some more planning, and then we'll come back and look at preparing all the gear, and if someone wants to do any shooting today or no shooting today, just play it by ear. You know, continue on with planning and preparation, and then maybe plan to do the bulk of the shooting tomorrow. So, okay.
Excuse me, Kelly?
Yeah?
We hear that it might rain tomorrow.
Okay, so well, these are all the considerations. Yeah, you might want to go and get it done.
Actually,
Try.
I think it's this
We're-
afternoon that it's
We're all
supposed
set to go.
Okay, good, okay. Okay, well then let's go for lunch. And if you want to break out earlier, then that's fine. But, okay, and we'll try to get hold of our long distance participants through lunch. Okay, good luck, everybody.
When I grew